Want your next project to rock that classic 80s electronic voice sound? Well, I've got the solution for you.
Votrax. A-E-I-O-U. Votrax. A-E-I-O-U. Votrax. A-E-I-O-U.
Now, if you're looking for the true builder's experience, you're going to want the kit version of this. And Scott gives us a lot of really good information and a really excellent selection of high quality parts, as well as a very well made professional fully screened printed circuit board. Now, this is all through hole, so it's pretty easy to work with. We've got big targets to hit with our soldering iron, so shouldn't be too much of a challenge. Now, when you're putting this kit together, I do recommend that you do it in stages, where you put the components that are low profile on first, and then maybe go ahead and solder those on, and then work your way up to the components with longer and longer leads. But don't stuff the whole board as I do, and then have to work around all of these long leads to get your soldering iron in the right spot. So do as I say, not as I do. I do like to, the bigger parts, I do like to bend the tabs over to keep them in place. But anyway, with the pots and the IC sockets in place, the next thing are the electrolytic caps. And do make sure you get the polarity right on these. It is going to matter. There are only 4 electrolytic caps in this whole project, so you want to get those in and get their polarity right, but it's pretty straightforward. It's not very challenging at all. Now, this is the outlet for the audio, and on most of these boards, this is bridged to full mono, so both channels are bridged together. And next is the 4 decoupling caps. These are 0.1 microfarads. Nothing really important here to see. Just get them in, get them soldered in place, and you'll be good to go. Like I said, don't do the whole forest of leads process like I did here. And then the fun starts. Get that iron warmed up, get it tinned and clean, and then let's start getting some joints done. These are the 3 leads for the first pot. We get that hunkered down and locked in place. Now, when you're doing this work, this as far as projects go, this is pretty simple. You got lots of big components on this board. It's not, I would give this a level 1 difficulty on a scale of 1 to 5. This is, again, pretty straightforward and also pretty hard to screw up, because really all these caps are on there are just for filters or decoupling. So as long as you get it mostly done correctly, it'll be good. Now, I did stick the pin headers in the Arduino ahead of time, and then I'm going to marry the 2 boards together here and use the Arduino as my alignment tool for the pin headers. This makes for a really, really nice job and makes those pin headers aligned perfectly with the machine manufactured Arduino. I did need to adjust my vise here a little bit to get this to clamp in place, but no big deal. I do really like this vise for doing video work and also for doing assembly work. It is a pretty great tool. My camera is chasing the focus. I just got a firmware update for it. You've got your speechchips.com demo board for the Votrax all ready to go now. So you need to get your Votrax chip on the board. A couple of things I want to cover here. Again, this board is running on top of a Arduino Uno, and it needs to be driven by something. If you remember previously, we looked at this guy, which was the SoundGen Z. This chip you can actually load up with routines and it'll run automatically. And you don't really need a microcontroller to drive this after it's already been programmed. But in the case of the Votrax, you do. This is basically a replacement for a chip that was developed in the 80s to give speech to electronic items. But it doesn't do it on its own. It needs to be prompted by a continuous stream of commands from your microcontroller. So, you need something like an Uno to spoon feed that data into the chip in order to get the phonemes out to create voice-like patterns. Now, I want to point out the care that the creator went to get these chips to us intact. This is a really nice 3D printed surround and a anti-static foam insert. It comes in a nice Ziploc bag. It's very well packaged. We're going to insert that chip now on our board. Sit that down. And then we're going to get some USB power. You see, I already have an audio connection to one of my speakers here on the bench. So we're going to plug this guy in. And then we're going to hear this initial audio from this guy, and it is just a diagnostic routine that's running on the Uno to run the voice track or the Votrax through its paces. So let's get a listen to what he's got to say. Now, if you're using this board, you actually get the benefit of being able to mess with the clock going into the chip. You can see how fun that would become. Now, the other demo that I've got set up for you over here is, to me, absolutely hysterical. One of the videos that Scott Savage did initially for this Votrax was his research into finding out what made the voice for the video game character Q*bert so unique. And I'll tell you what, if you want to see the most OCD video on YouTube, I think, anyone who devoted this much effort into finding out how in the world the video game designer came up with the voice of Q*bert, you've got to check that video out. It's definitely worth your time. But let's hear what Scott envisioned for Q*bert unleashing just a continuous stream of obscenity. Now that pitch is a little bit low for Q*bert, so let's get that up into his range. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Calm down there, Q*bert. Take a chill pill, buddy. It's not that bad. Anyway, you can see, you can have some real fun with this because you can make it sound like a few other characters in that video game. And the way they did that, if you watch Scott's video, is by varying the speed at which the chip was clocked. So anyway, whether you're rebuilding an arcade game or you just want to get that vintage 80s era electronic voice for your project, you can do that with this. Now, it's not just a simple matter of putting in words and getting sounds out the other end. You actually have to put quite a bit of thought into this. And Scott does give us a document, it's a PDF, that pretty much gives us some guidance for the phenome construction of different words in the English language. And it's going to get you close, but you may find you have to tweak it a little bit to get it to sound the way you want to. And that's where this Odyssey just really gets started. There's a lot of stuff to do there, a lot of stuff to learn. And I really think that with recent advances in AI, if we could get an AI tool that we could actually input the words into and then get the phenome string out, it could make this a really short path. But anyway, that's part of the fun of experimenting and getting all of this stuff working the way we want to and the way it really augments our projects. So thanks for joining me today. And do take a moment and check out the videos in the end credits, because they're going to be well worth your time, especially the one on Qbert. Thanks for watching, everybody. Y'all have a great day.